This is an Orthodox Jewish seminary in the occupied West Bank. Students here believe Israel, the West Bank and Gaza belong to the Jews, given to them by God. Next year, all these students will join combat units in Israel's army. Theirs is one of a growing number of Jewish schools that encourages taking Bibles to the battlefield. The chief rabbi of the army said that he sees Israel's army of today as the direct descendant of Israel's army from biblical times. Do you see that the same way?
The Jews coming back to Zion is something we prayed for thousands of years, and we see it happening, and it's in a way miraculous. We see it as the beginning of a redemption, and therefore the army as part of it is a crucial part of having a Jewish state. Seeing that, the army service is very important.
Part of our religious obligation is to guard the people of Israel, because that's what we were commanded to do by the Lord.
Israel has definitely had many miracles over the years that have something to do with the land of Israel. In many wars, as in the last war, we've had great victories with not many people that were killed. And we could definitely say that the hand of God is definitely watching over us at times.
And a lot of secular Israelis find it harder going to war, because sometimes they don't know what they're fighting for. But I'm sure religion makes us stronger.
Dan is keen to become a military rabbi, like two of his brothers. He believes religious officers can make Israel's army a more moral entity. The students describe themselves to me as religious Zionists. They're also settlers here in the West Bank. Like most of the new wave of Israel's religious soldiers and the majority of its military rabbis, they're politically right-wing. So what about the West Bank? If President Obama gets his way, eventually Israel will evacuate most settlements like this one from the West Bank. They're illegal under international law, and Palestinians want the West Bank as part of their future state. But don't forget, for Orthodox Jewish soldiers, the West Bank is part of the Holy Land given to them by God. Will they be willing to obey government orders that go against their religious convictions? Many in the army think not.
Most of my officers are settlers. It's something we were never like this before. Problem is when it comes to a collision between a political decision of the government and the point of view of the rabbis. I think they're going to listen to the rabbis.
Israel's military leaders strongly disagree. Whether at checkpoints or on other duties, soldiers follow their orders only, they say.
The moral code of the IDF is clear. We demand the soldiers to behave in the light of this code. We judge them, we appreciate their performance in the light of this code. And anybody can say or can create any other code, moral code, not a religious one. Only the commanders are in charge of the spirit of the soldiers.
But in Gaza this year, some military rabbis were promoting their own agendas. There are those who say their sermons pervert the true teachings of Judaism, as well as contradict Israel's military code. But in this increasingly religious army, Israeli soldiers are arguably susceptible to the words of politically motivated rabbis. Day to day, Israel's army mainly operates in civilian areas, in Gaza, the West Bank, and here in East Jerusalem. The way soldiers view Palestinians living here is hugely important. It's likely to affect the way they use their power and their weapons.